Lovely dovey. As things will be heading downwards this track one more time in this best of three, of course. These two players head to head, hoping both of them to advance onwards into the third day of this event, which should be on Friday. Tomorrow there is another day of this event where you will be able to watch the second group in action. We have lovely players such as Astrea, Classic, Rogue, as well as Björn, all coming along. Those four players doing the same format right here. We'll have Akon with the lovely French accent coming in, helping us out with a bit of the streaming, and then Friday I'll be here again doing the conclusions. Right? The finals overall. Let me figure out what that would be. So, that will be 3 best of 5s. Okay, let's get back into the game. It does appear that when I alt-tab, the game gets a bit choppy. It does not appreciate me alt-tabbing as much. Okay, GUMIHO with the Reaper. Couple of quick Zerglings though, out and about on the field. Not quite yet seen by GUMIHO as he skipped the SEV Scout. So he's going to get blindsided by these Zerglings running into the natural base. These Zerglings would love to get their hands on top of that SEV right here. Sending 2 Zerglings into the main base as well. Will be able to pick off that Marine right there. Now getting the delay. Getting a lot of delayed mining time here as well. Reaper on the other side struggles against the Queens. Not going to get anything done. That is a big conga line of SCVs right there. Just kind of teetering behind those Zerglings. Waiting for their shot at killing something. Immediately when there's just one SCV, the Zerglings turn around. Wanting to take that fight right there. A little bit of a struggle. Command Center now below 500 HP. The Reaper does make his return, and nothing too bad will be happening to that. But I mean, for the cost of 4 Zerglings, this is some pretty darn good stuff. I guess it's not just the cost of the 4 Zerglings; it's also getting the spawning pool before the hatchery, which is a bit of an economic jump. But I mean, you know, that is looking pretty juicy. You know, that is looking pretty fine to me. Command Center now half HP. If you want to deal with that situation, you're just going to have to spend SCV time. Doing repairs rather than the more so important mining. Right, I would say mining is more important than repairs. If you don't do any repairs, you might still win the game. If you don't do any mining, guys, you got a very short window of opportunity to strike. A very, very small window of opportunity. Hellions not getting too much done. Circling scouts endlessly being sent about, even in this matchup as well, for Ragnarok. Always a big geek about that when that happens. Let me quickly get my chat back. There we go. Hellions in the Reaper. Up against that Queen wall. No easy access there. Third base for GUMIHO timing, seeming to be pretty well, well placed. It's going to get that, as it feels right now, quite securely at a very, very good time in comparison to the third base of Ragnarok here. Viking harassment. He's got himself 1 kill, most likely an Overlord. There's 2 Overlords in total been killed. Ooh, the Hellions a little bit jumbled up, but again, get a pretty positive trade there. That is nearing 3 times the amount of minerals lost by Rag. And yeah, sure, I mean, it's not an immense amount, It will only be 500 minerals. But still, this early in the game kind of tells me a tale. Ragnarok did get a lot more mining done, so has that going for him, allowed him to still get to these Mutalisks. Actually, these Mutalisks, I did not realize we had Mutalisks coming in this early in the game. And I doubt that GUMIHO had a big idea about it either. Raven harassment. I love these quicker Mutalisk plays that we're seeing more and more often. Just such a sharp way to, you know, if it works out, you just get so much space on the map. And you manage to potentially deal quite a bit of damage to your opponents. This time around, not being able to deal damage, but well, getting rid of the Hellions, getting rid of that Raven. It's got to count for something. That Raven, a very mighty tool for later game as well, right? Anti-armor missile and a big cluster of these Mutalisk. And then just a couple of Widowmines or Marines stimming in to take them all down. That's rough. Wait, does armor affect Widowmine damage? I'm not even sure if it does. I actually doubt that it does. Oh, finds this one. Get the SCV. More Marines coming in from multiple angles. Widowmine hit right there as well. Pretty successful. So those Mutalisks still struggling to complete their tasks. That bucket list is still requiring a bit of work. Drilling claws upgrade coming in, as well as some Thors. GUMIHO quite quick to adjust to the situation at hand here, realizing what he needs in his army composition as quickly as possible. Ragnarok though still with all this presence across the map. When's the last time we've seen GUMIHO make any type of play across the field here, right? That is, well, I guess it's 3 Hellions. 3 Hellions, that's great, but we don't anticipate 3 Hellions doing anything, right? We don't realistically believe these 3 Hellions are going to do too much. I would have liked to have been proven one there, but it's, yeah. It's just unfortunate. It's just quite unfortunate. Very solid reaction, though, from Ragnarok. Getting the Evo chamber in, as well as the runaway with the drones. Before those Hellions started blazing the drones. Make them into little tiny Zerg embers and smolders. Single Zergling here. Would like to have that other Zergling on the other side as well. Just so you know when that 4th base is happening. I have an inclination as to that it is happening right now. Starting to move those Zergling Banelings units all the way to the left side. And more Zerglings and Banelings on production. Would be a time where we do have a attack. The Widowmine hit right there on all of those Mutalisks. May even delay this attack a little bit. Okay, this is where they will come to start connecting fists with one another. I can't believe it. I can't. Oh, that is. Oh no, he's coming in from behind. He's forcing the Terran units the wrong way, but you know what? Those Thors were still in a very good position overall. As, you know what, coming in from behind here didn't help out too much because he didn't have units coming in from the other side. So GUMIHO could just still take this fight pretty convincingly, as his quick reaction time allowed him to spread out quite nicely still, given the situation right there. Very, very good to see. It's just a place where you're not really potentially looking, right? If you're pushing with that army, you're looking downwards. You're not anticipating that Zergling Baneling army to come in from above. Immediate success with some Widow Mines, but the Banelings, once again, these splits from GUMIHO looking fantastic. It's just a couple too many Banelings this time around. Not that many Marines remain. The Mutalisk realize and are going to start target firing these Marines down. More Widow Mines could have something to say about it though. More Widow Mines there as well. Nice Unburrow. Don't want to set them off needlessly. Things quiet down again. Ragnarok will start to spike up that supply rather quickly. This planetary fortress, the full base, has kind of been pretty successful. It's not been shut down so far. Now it could come down to a 5th base and 6th base here for GUMIHO, whether or not he will be able to acquire those and do, you know, a sufficient amount of mining there. Have to wait and see. Marauders in front. Don't want to run those Banelings in there. Careful. Ragnarok. I don't know how many Banelings he has. Only 10 of them at the moment. Still need those Banelings to clean up the Widow Mines, not just the Marauders. Or, sorry, the Marines, not just the Marauders. There is a Widow Mine right there. Widow Mine pretty successful, and now there's just all these Marines remaining, and yeah, you don't have any Banelings left. Oh dear. One Baneling remains. As the Marine force starts going forwards, Ragnarok does not want to give this base up, so he will just send these units in and make this situation actually a little bit worse than it would have been if he had just lost the base. Marauders staying at the bottom, even dropping in units one by one, trying to rid the world of Banelings once again, and they're valuable units, man. That's a very smart job by GUMIHO. He realizes that Ragnarok is struggling with the Baneling numbers, so if you start endlessly just dealing with Banelings as efficiently as you can, this could become a snowball effect. In particular, after the Zerg loses one of those bases of theirs, of course. As Ragnarok now 20 supply behind of his opponents. GUMIHO looking very secure on those 5 bases. A couple of Mutalisks not finding any type of access anywhere. No adrenal glands yet for those Zerglings either. Struggling, base cancelled on the 9 o'clock. And a threat from the Terran here that will have to be once again responded to and traded into. Which is kind of what GUMIHO just wants to do right now. Okay, nice pre-send of those Zerglings. Doesn't lose too much. Banelings are somewhat avoiding needless run into other infantry units. As he does clean it up. He does clean it up more efficiently than GUMIHO perhaps would have liked it to be. A lot of that battle was still very close to the creep, also helping out. Medevac drop to the right on the left flank. Once more, these pushes are going to continue. Circling run by this time around. We've looking at a couple of units that found moments where they can try to make this happen. The Widow Mine right there does get a pretty good chunk of those Zerglings, but there are still quite a few remaining on the other side. Banelings, we just catch the tail end of that. Banelings dealing pretty significantly well with the Bioforces here, even running a couple of them away. Realizing, these are just the Marauders. We do not want to waste Banelings on that. 21 SCVs go down. 4 drones. Suddenly, Ragnarok entirely back in the driving seat here. Taking full control once more of this game. Knowing one of these bases, killing 21 of the SCVs. Another planetary is being controlled here, though, by GUMIHO. And GUMIHO is in a position where he might be able to just stack up on army units here rather than SCVs. How many orbitals do we have? We have only 3 of them. So that is a very, very slim amount to only be on 53 workers. So that is worrisome. That is definitely something we have to worry about. Overall trading, again, probably something I would like to give to Ragnarok here, a little bit score-wise. Looking a bit sharper for him. He is behind overall, but it's only by a very slim amount. Aiming attack onto the planetary. That is got no chances of survival. Did committing that many amount of banelings to that battle cause Ragnarok to lose a base of his own. So far, looking pretty secure here. Those banelings gotta be careful not running in on their own. 2 more Wither Mines remain. Those, okay, no massive connections. Alright, yeah, Ragnarok keeps himself safe. Bit of his creep spread gone, sure. Not trading as efficiently as he perhaps has to, though, still. Maybe a bit more. Or really start denying mining here. There we go. Does manage to do the secondary, the latter of those 2 things. As well as maybe on this location right here. It's a tough game to call. Widow mines were available in this location, as we see big splatters of blood do appear. The planetary fortress will make a disappearance act happen. Orbital, another planetary fortress. GUMIHO incredibly quick with retaking these bases. That is gotta be commended to him. If he wins this game, that is going to be the reason why. Or, like, one of the main reasons why. The rest of this entire game is also incredible. Just the decisiveness of recapturing these bases is absolutely beautiful to see. Pushing in here, a bit of an awkward area to push into, but so is it for the Zerg, right? Big chunk of a corridor here, kind of clumped up with that big blue cube, or whatever it is. It's not a cube. I know the Dutch word, but whatever. Whatever. Hologram plateau, let's call it that. There's still bio units here, Ragnarok. There is still bio units here. How did he not win that? How did he not clean that up? And how are there still bases here? Where do they keep coming from? He hasn't even flown his main base across yet. That is still here. His natural base is flying right now. Zerglings not finding great success. He's targeting down the mules. That's probably a good call. It's actually a pretty good call, I would say. Those were fresh mules. 9 o'clock from GUMIHO. Yeah. Well, the forces of GUMIHO there on the 9 o'clock. Not looking like they'll accomplish much. On the right flank is actually causing the entire army of Ragnarok to move to the right flank. Which is a not too far stretch of an assumption. You know, you clean up the left flank and you're like, okay, nice, we just have the right flank to be concerned about for a little while. But no, the secondary attack on the left flank arriving so much earlier than he had anticipated. Losing another base of his own. Zerglings take revenge on the other side of the field quite rapidly. 14 SCVs go down there as well. More firepower available for the Terran at the moment in army supply, but his economy is just ravaged. He's got himself 3 orbitals still. That seems to be the number we're teetering around that GUMIHO can make available to himself. But yeah, look at the mining. Look at the overall mining that's happening right now for both these players. In fact, absolutely abysmal. Army for Ragnarok not entirely convinced it wants to start taking fights head to head with the other army here. Utilisk doing a wonderful job. Not enough missile turrets there to defend that area. Is going to force the issue, though, on the other side of the map. A lot of Marines, only 3 Marauders. The Ultralisk here can be quite a valuable asset as those Zerglings try to get a full surround on these units. Slow them down, stop them from running away. Is that going to be enough here? Well, more Banelings. Mutalisk joining in as well. Great target fire onto those Banelings. And actually forces Ragnarok back out of that, the issue. GUMIHO is... Widowmine is into the Ultralisk. Not the best. But there's not enough creep here. Getting on top of those Mutalisk is nice, but the Fungal... The Fungal, that may have been deadly. That one Fungal right there. These Zerglings really not doing a great job with trying to get the surround, right? It does seem like it's more of just a casual A move rather than trying to get the surround and then stopping units from running and that type of stuff, right? Zerg things. Zerg players will know what I'm talking about. More Zerg things are happening right here. Look at that, a couple of Zerglings. On top of the SCVs, 15 more of them go down. Ragnarok, he has reacquired the bottom right side. He has reacquired the 9 o'clock, which may be short-lived, though. As GUMIHO does have his forces established here. Although those forces now are starting to see a lot of pressure coming in from the Zerglings. The Widowmines making big connections, but they make big connections onto the Zerg as well as the Terran army. Still not quite a comfortable position here for Ragnarok to full commit. But still a pretty good one. Oh, that was a lovely split right there. Another lovely split. Will he be able to keep doing this? Kind of. But he just doesn't have the Zerglings regardless of how well he splits. Because there's just so many Widowmines. Just too many Widowmines. The 2 Infestors here is absolutely wonderful to see as well. Very, very late game, low eco ZVT to kick things off here. Cancellation on those Banelings, probably the right choice. Another base that could become quite scary. Ragnarok, he does not like losing bases, and sometimes he will overcommit with his units trying to defend here. Well, sometimes giving up the base is just the better thing to do. Rather than giving up the base and giving up a couple of units, just taking a bad trade, trying to not lose the base. While you're going to lose the base inevitably. Great Fungal there, once again, the 2 Infestors showing their worth. Making the job of the Ultralisk Zergling army so much easier to do. More Zerglings running in once more into this area right there. As, you know what, those splits were not as great. But that's okay, there is more and more Zerglings now arriving. Ragnarok has managed to shut down the mining of GUMIHO sufficiently to be able to whittle him down slowly but surely. A painful, grindy game. But Ragnarok gets out on top right there. Some lovely colors. I think it's purely coincidental. But yeah. This man right here on his last leg right now. Would love to see him move on into the final events here. But he is struggling. He is definitely struggling. The Psystorm Gamers Terran player in the yellow. It is GUMIHO. Going for the proxies, it would appear. Bottom right side, we have ourselves a blue Zerg. Fighting for Alpha X, it is Ragnarok. Now, let me just see. If I press this button, does this still happen? Oh, no, it doesn't. Lovely. Yeah, that's 3. That is 3 of them. As well as the spawning pool first coming out of Ragnarok here. Which is going to be a... well, a blast for one of them. Ragnarok could just still entirely miscalculate this situation. Right? He could anticipate it being at like a proxy 1 or, well, probably proxy 2 Rex. The 3 racks can still come out of the left field as a Zerg player here for your reaction and just entirely catch you off guard. But we'll see. The 3 racks. Is it going to be successful here? How good are those Zerglings going to be as well? Very important to see. Trying to catch that first Marine. More Marines than SCVs are coming in here. Let's see, 3 Marines right now with the 3 SCVs. Is he going to figure out that this is a proxy 3 Rex? We do see a Spinecrawler committal. I think that would only be happening here if he is pretty certain that he's facing off against a proxy 3 Rex. The Queen has arrived on the low ground right here. More Zerglings are coming in, trying to make the committal onto the Marines right there, and that has actually costed them quite a bit of HP. That is going to be difficult now for Ragnarok to try and make any other attempts, as he will try to get on top of this. The Queen needs to stop that bunker from going up. Does manage to get all of the SCVs, so there's no threat of a bunker, but there is still a severe threat of Marines here. Spinecrawler wants to get into the ground, would be of a great assistance here if it does manage to do so. The Queen getting incredibly low, does not want to lose that, preferably, but he may not have a choice in the matter. SCVs, more of them were trying to come in here, but it does seem to be fruitless. Ultimately, GUMIHO getting himself full worker kills, 18 SCV, or 18 Zerglings, as well as the Queen. Forcing out a Spinecrawler, forcing a bit of lost mining time, and, well, he is still producing Marines right now. He is 20 SCVs in total. His second base is quite far away, though, as well is his gas. Only just now starting 2 refineries. He will be stuck on mineral-only production for quite a bit here, as Ragnarok most likely will just... Well, actually, he's making 10 Zerglings. I was not anticipating the 10 Zerglings here entirely. I was kind of banking on him trying to make a couple more drones. That would have been my approach to this situation, and then most likely I would have died due to the fact that my opponents just kept on making more and more Marines, as is happening right here. The Marines are coming out, trying to rid the world of the creep. There's still a fair amount of Zerglings here. Let's see if that is going to be enough together with the Spinecrawler. It looks like it very well may be. That Spinecrawler is dealing so much damage right now. It is quite nice to see. Is it going to be enough, though? Poking away from afar. Looks like it's the way to go. A nice transfuse there onto one of those Queens as well. And now, there we go. More Marines into the graveyard. They plummet, as that second base for GUMIHO is looking rather exposed. Ragnarok realizing that there is not much there, but he has recontinued the drone production after successfully holding the secondary wave. It seems like he is happy to bring this game into the macro state once again. The third base, more and more drones on that production tab. Very well. Like, honestly, in my opinion, like, if you just make it the biggest wave of Zerglings right here, right now, well, maybe, hopefully a little bit earlier. A little bit earlier. This would have been a fantastic opportunity, but, well, I mean, it is still a good spot here for Ragnarok, I would say. The 3 racks is fairly committed overall. You want to deal good damage with it. What we've seen is Ragnarok actually being the one trading favorably over there. And that Spinecrawler, where did it go? There it is. There's the bugger. 6 kills on this bad boy. That is a tremendous amount of help being brought along from that Spinecrawler, ensuring that not too much damage was going to be taken from those drones right there. Ah yes, the infamous 3-1-1. Alright, so GUMIHO not out of this just quite yet. We've seen him in a similar situation versus Nice. He is just kind of on that 2 base. Stuck in between. and be a formidable defender. Is losing his 2 Hellions here. A great little circling ambush being set up right there from RAGNAROK. Finds himself quite a bit of success. Losing the Overlords. Okay, it's not going to supply block him too much. It's actually not going to supply block him at all. So that's a good feeling. More Hellions. May want to switch it up to Widowmine production fairly soon. So the Hellions only have so much time in the game before they become a little bit redundant. Little Viking harassment here or there would not hurt either. Getting himself rid of some of those Overlords. This is a interesting situation. RAGNAROK's still in a quite a nice place with his work account as well as his base count, especially if he manages to keep this base going. Army supply wise, he is a bit lackluster though. For the time being, it does appear that we're gonna be banking on a reasonable Baneling connection somewhere happening here. Let's see if that is actually what happens. He's going to have to commit now with those Banelings, as I don't think that is going to be enough. Still a couple more Banelings available. More and more reinforcing units coming in, but the Banelings one by one getting sniped out by the target fire from GUMIHO. He's doing a formidable job, putting a lot of pressure onto this third base right now. One more Baneling decides, you know what, never mind, it's not worth it just quite yet. Now gets a massive wraparound against the Marines, but the pickup was there in time, saves most of his forces, but he doesn't manage to do economic damage, which is kind of what I was hoping he would be able to achieve here, to resettle the score, kind of set up an equal footing for these players once again. But well, he's going to have to do with quite a bit of fantastic trading, quite a bit of value trading, I suppose I could say. There might be a word for it. Forcing another lift up. Quite quickly this time around. Ooh. Gotta keep paying attention. And GUMIHO actually with that taps out of there. Does not want to commit any more time here. Bit of a quick jab out of the game there, but it makes sense. The game just was not going his way. GG is called, and RAGNAROK will be our second player advancing right now for the main event. Tomorrow you'll be able to see what else is going to be happening here, of course. For the other players, which are plenty. We got ourselves Astrea, Classic, Rogue, and Beyond.